Hello everyone. In this video tutorial, I am going to show you how to resize your TV screen contents to a specific area in your app so that you can view the TV contents and at the same time work with your app. So this kind of app finds its application in various areas like in the case of a reality show where you are voting for a particular participant while watching at the same time the participant is performing. And it's also useful in the case of uh, applications like online voting where you are online voting for a particular cause or you are purchasing a particular product by looking at an ad on the TV so that you can purchase the product before the offer period ends. This concept has been implemented by using the Samsung Smart TV Web API. So before going into the practical concept, I will give you a little bit introduction about what the Samsung Smart TV Web API is all about. This Web API is a set of JavaScript-based interfaces that are provided along with the Samsung Smart TV SDK, so that you can access the middleware functions of the TV. To give you an example, the most prominent middleware functions that are given access through this web APIs are the alarm functions, and the Bluetooth, the TV functions where you can control the TV programmatically, the file system for accessing the TV's file system, and the NFC for communicating with the latest smartphone devices, and for the network various other network functionalities, etc., can be accessed by the help of this Samsung Smart TV Web API. Let's go on with the project. So fire up your Samsung Smart TV SDK IDE. So I hope you have installed this IDE in your systems. For those of you who have not installed it, you have to install the Samsung Smart TV SDK before continuing the concept that is presented in this presentation. Yeah, in my previous video, I have given a title about how to install this Samsung Smart TV SDK on a Windows machine. So those of you who have not watched that video, please watch it. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start with the project. So before starting with the project, make sure that you have the Samsung Smart TV log receiver set to the on state. So if it is set to the on state, you can see that the status shows a green button. So that indicates that the log receiver is it is online. So let's go ahead and create the project. So go to File, New Project, and in the Samsung Smart TV apps list, I'm going to create the Samsung Smart TV JavaScript project. So this app, I'm going to give a name it as TV window resize app. Once I click finish, my project will be created. So this index.html file is the home page that is going to get displayed once your app launches in the emulator or in the TV if you are installing your app in a TV. So if you look at the index file, you can see a bit of JavaScript files that are included by default. The first one being the widget file, which helps in interacting with the TV widgets, and the another one, the TV key value JS file, which helps in processing the key events that are coming from their TV remote. So in order to enable the web API support in your project, you have to include the web API JavaScript file. So for including that file, all you have to do is include that web API script in your file. So src equal to manager widget common web API slash 1.0 slash web apis.js. So by typing this line, you have enabled the web API support to your project. So once this file is included, all those APIs that are provided by the web API module will be initialized by default. You do not have to do any initializations manually. You just have to get the reference and continue with the work. So in our case, we are going to use the TV window API. This TV window API helps in resizing our TV screen contents to a specific area in our app. So, uh, so let's go ahead and get a reference of our TV window interface. So go to the main.javascript file. So for getting a reference to the TV window object, all you have to do is initialize a variable, and to that variable just assign window.webapis.tv.window. So this is all what you have to do to get a reference to the window object in the web API module. So whatever dealings here we are going to deal with the TV window module will be done through this reference TV window object. So let's go ahead to the code. So in this onload function, this is the function that gets called in the beginning once our app gets loaded completely. So in the index page, if you see that this main.onload will be called in the onload function in the body tag. So this is the function that is going to get called once your app gets loaded completely, or the components that represent your app gets loaded completely into the TV or into the emulator. It depends upon the place where you're running the project. Okay, so this is the place where we are going to start our process. So I'm going to set a function like um, resize TV screen. This is my function. So I have just called the function. Now I have to define that function. So the function name is resize TV screen. So I will initialize a function, and the first function that we are going to call in this TV window module will be the get available window function. So this is my point of entrance to the TV window module, the TV window object. So the TV window object dot get available window. So this function has two parameters actually. One is the success callback and the another one is this error callback. This callback is actually a function that gets called once the result is executed. That is, I will be naming my success callback function as available window success and available window failure. Okay, so I have to define these two functions. Function available window success and function available window failure. So I have defined both the success and the error callback functions. So if this function is executed successfully, available window success will be the function that gets called, and while in the other case, this is the function that is going to get called. So if the call this function executes successfully, this success callback will be called with the parameter of the Windows ID list. That will this function once executes successfully, it is going to return you the list of Windows, the list of the IDs of the Windows that are currently supported in your TV. So um, In this case, I'm just going to demonstrate only the default window ID. By default, the window ID that is returned is 0. That is, for the main TV window, the window ID will be 0. In the emulator, actually, only one window ID is supported. I'm currently running this project in an emulator, but if you are running this project in a TV that supports multiple windows or windows from multiple sources, you will be getting the ID list of all those windows. While in my case, I'm just going to get the ID of the default window screen, that is 0. In your TV, this 0 will represent the primary TV window. Okay, so in this case, I'll be getting only a single 0. Or if I'm having a list of windows, I will be getting a array. So I'm just going to differentiate that in my code. Windows ID list equal to 0. So in that case, my will be the default window ID. So I'm going to print that message. Got the default window ID, or else I'm going to print the list of IDs. Alert, got a list of some window ID list dot length of windows. Okay, this is the message that I'm going to print right now. So if I'm getting a single window, I will be printing a message like got the default window ID. While as if I'm getting a list of windows in the environment which supports multiple windows, by actually in an emulator you will be getting only a single default window, while as in the case of a TV, if it supports multiple windows, you will be getting an array list of window IDs that are supported. So in the error function, I'm just going to give an alert as okay, failure in getting the list of window IDs. Okay, let's go ahead and run this project on our emulator. Okay, for running this, go to the project and go to the Samsung Smart TV SDK and run the project. So here I got an error. Okay, now we're all right. So go ahead and refresh this thing. Okay, so if you see that here in the log window, I'm getting the result as got the default window ID, so which is obviously the result of the success callback function. Okay, so here I have got a single window ID, and that is by default 0, the primary window of the TV. Okay, so I'm currently running my project in the emulator, so by default I will be getting the ID of the primary window 0. Okay, so now we have got the ID of the window. So using this ID, we are going to actually resize the TV screen app. Okay, so once this function gets executed successfully, I'm going to call a function like resize TV window view. Okay, this is just a custom function that I'm going to define here. Function resize TV window view. Okay, so inside this function, I'm going to call the function called setRect. Again, the same TV window object class that we have obtained it as the reference to this module. So the same class dot. Now we are going to call the function called setRect. Okay, this setRect has two parameters. The first one parameter is where TV specs. Okay, this is actually a JSON object that specifies the width and height of the container area inside your app in which you want to resize the actual TV window screen contents. Okay, so I'm just going to give some specifications like width and height and the positioning like x and y coordinates, so that inside that location my TV screen window is going to get resized and placed. So these are the parameters actually. Width, I'll be giving a width of say 400 and a height of say again 400, and left, the left coordinate will be like some 20, and the top will be at your pixel of 20. Okay, so if you look at this variable very clearly, you can see that it is just a plain JSON object. So this setRect is the function by which you are resizing the TV window. So okay, now the TV specs is the first parameter that you are, this JSON object is the first parameter that you are going to give to this function, and the second function is the ID of the window that you're going to resize, which is by default the primary window ID 0 in our case. Okay, since we are running this project in emulator, we will be getting only a single window ID. If you are running in a real TV where with multiple window ID support, you can specify that window ID, the exact window ID, so that the particular window will get resized to the area that you are giving inside this JSON object specification. Okay, so this object is actually a Boolean object, so it is going to return either a true or a false. Okay, so if this result is true, I'm going to print a message as say, okay, TV resize function success, or else I'm going to print a message as TV resize function failure. Okay, so now let's go ahead and refresh our screen contents. So you can see the messages TV resize function success. That means our primary TV window is being resized to the particular coordinates, but in the main window you can see that it's completely black. So in order to differentiate the main TV window from the actual app contents, I'm going to give a background color for our app. So I'll open the main style sheet file, and inside the body tag I will be giving a simple background color like a gray color. So if you again refresh this app, you can see that actually the window has been resized to a particular coordinates what we have specified in the JSON object. So we have resized our TV screen contents. So the next thing we have to do is that set this source. Okay, now I have actually resized my TV screen content to a specific area of the main actual hardware TV screen. So now I have to set this source so that the actual TV contents are redirected to this specific area, so that you can watch the TV contents and you can place your app elements over here like button or some other way, UI elements based on your app's specifications. Okay, so now in this here I'm going to set the source to this particular window. So okay, for setting the source we have a function called set source. So again I'm going to, so okay, now in the inside the success I'm going to call a function called again that same TV window object dot set source of, okay, again this function will be having three parameters. The first one will be the source info object. Source info is again another JSON object that specifies the type and number parameter. Type will be the from. These are the list of types that are actually provided by the Samsung Smart TV SDK. No, this is not the window. Okay, these are the list of types. So here we'll be having 0 for TV, 1 for AV input, 2 for S video, 3 for comp, 4 for PC, fetch for so for each type of interfaces, have provided a constant number, so that the input that is coming from these interfaces will be redirected to the resized area in your app. So, okay, so by default I'm going to divert the main TV content, so this, which is obviously 0. So I'm going to give this constant instead of 0 in order to give you a visually. I'll set the object as TV window object dot the constant, which is the default TV object, and the second parameter is the number, which is obviously the 0 by default. So this will be our first parameter to this function called set source. So source info. So again, this function will also be having a success and as well as a error callback. Okay, so I'm going to name my success callback as set source success, and again set source failure for my error callback. Okay, now I have to define these two functions also, otherwise it is going to get some error. Set source success, and again function set source failure. Okay, so if it's going to be a success, I'm going to give a message as TV redirect success. So if that is a failure, I'm going to give a message as TV redirect failure. Okay, now you can see that I have set up this function. So let's go ahead and see how this is behaving in our emulator. Oh no, I'm getting an error saying that source info. Oh, this is because of a spelling mistake. Okay, source. That's it. Go ahead and refresh again. Okay, now it seems to, I'm getting a warning message just because that my emulator is not getting any input as this time currently. So if you are running this app in your real TV, you can see that the actual contents that are displayed in your TV will be redirected to this particular area in your app, so that you can view the actual TV contents in this screen. And well, here you can design the user interface elements of your app based on the functionality that your app is gonna give. Okay, so here I'll be having some buttons and whatever functionalities that you're going to include in your app. So this is it. We have successfully resized our primary TV window to a particular area in our app, which is by default a full screen app. Okay, now this API actually has two more functions, which are very easy kind of functions. Are these are those two functions, like TV window object dot show and TV window object dot hide. So the main use of these two functions accept the ID, the window ID, in which you are going to hide. So 0 is the default that I'm giving here since I'm running it in an emulator. So this show and hide functionalities may be used sometimes in the case where you do not want the particular content to get displayed in your app. So at that time you can programmatically hide this TV screen content,
And if you wish to show this TV screen content again to your users, then you can call the show function with the corresponding window ID given. So that's all about the Samsung Smart TV window API for the resize functionality. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for further videos. Thank you.